welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live out of Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, the Twisted New Testament, with Rabbi Stuart Federow from the Big H, Houston, Texas. Come on, let me hear it for Rabbi Stuart Federow. Oh wait, we don't have a studio audience. I guess that didn't work very well. I should bring in a clapper.
No, it worked exactly like you'd like. Dead silence.
No, never. Wow, so cool to be back. Okay, so I have to tell everybody. Last week we ended the show. Granted, there was a very sad slowdown at the end of the show last week. We ended a little bit early, but I did say during that time, I said, going to have a special surprise for you.
It's my fault.
No.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It'll happen. We'll have another opportunity. So the surprise was going to be that Rabbi was going to actually drive down here. We would have been sitting side by side in the chair, in the chairs.
It will happen again.
And so, Rabbi, do me a favor. Scoot to your right about an inch. Your right. Your other right. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Okay, don't move. Okay, so this is the closest we can get for now. Okay, so now it's kind of like we're in the studio together. Now, Rabbi, if you're watching YouTube, you'll see it in about 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Thank you.
So, but that'll happen soon. But while this screen is up, of course, I'll tell you about his wonderful book, Judaism and Christianity: A Contrast. I'm not a great news person, so can you see it yet, Rabbi?
Wait a minute.
Come on, refresh your screen or something.
I did. I'm right here.
Okay. So we're kind of in the studio together now, but not really, virtually speaking. So, but anyway, if you don't have this book,
it will happen.
Yeah,
it will. Promise. I thought it would be today, and it couldn't be.
That's okay.
I had physical therapy, and I just zonked me out. I couldn't come in.
That is okay. So if you don't have this book, definitely want to get it. It's an easy read. It's only about, if I can get my finger in the screen like this thick. In fact, you know what? I've got the camera so close. Let me just pull the book out. Rabbi's got the book too. Let's see who could beat me to the punch here. Hang on.
What?
Got it. Ha, 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 ha. There it is right there. Hey, it's almost like, whoa, that's kind of weird looking, actually. If you look, you can actually see through my Tanakh Talk card. That is so cool. Rabbi, you got to look at the screen. That is like really, really neat looking. That's the technology of green screen for you. My cards are kind of bluish green, and Rabbi's typing away, so he won't be able to see it, but y'all will later. But anyway, so this book is actually a very easy read. It's very nice. Sorry, I got my chroma key setting just like tweaked out. So, hey, Rabbi, are you looking at the screen yet?
Yep.
Can you see how the card is actually showing? It's kind of going through. It's pretty cool.
Yes, that's very weird.
Okay, anyway, let's get back to the other screen. That was fun to play around with, so. Okay, so anyway, it's good to have you back. It's good to see all the viewers out there. Actually, let me go there because actually I don't see any viewers yet. There's 19 of you so far. That's good. Hello, Delaney. I hope I said your name right. That's in my Bible. Applause. Yay. Good deal. Joshua South. Julie Taylor. Love you, girl. When you come in from Alaska, bring some snow. We have not seen any snow this year. Actually, that's not true. We had a flurry. The problem with the flurry is that you could only see it while it was in the air. So when you come, Julie, bring some snow with you. That's all my kids ask. Kelsey Lynn, good to see you. Fernando, my friend, good to see you again. Rabbi Federow. This guy, Rabbi Federow, the Stuart Federow guy, keeps showing up. Is he a stalker?
I know.
Bill Smiley.
But I want you to see something, okay?
Okay.
See what I wrote?
Let's see. Hold on.
Happy Hanukkah, and also a happy, healthy, prosperous, successful new secular year of 2000 and Chai.
2000 and Chai.
Yeah.
Life. 20
Not only that, but it's the year 20 Chai.
Interesting.
And sing with me. In the year 20 Chai, 20 Chai.
I would, but I don't know that
song. If man is still alive, if woman can survive, they may find.
Oh, boy.
In the year 20 Chai, 20 Chai.
That's awesome.
2000 and Chai. That's our new coming secular year.
Jason, good to see you, buddy. Hey, you guys subscribe to Green Acres Pest Control. Jason, my friend, is just a super duper guy. He's just, I plug him on as often as I can remember because he really is. He's a nut job like me, and like Rabbi Federow. He's funny. He's just got, he kind of makes his whole little pest control learning. He's been doing pest control for like ever and ever and ever. And family business, growing up, knows the stuff, knows a lot of secret tricks that most people don't know, and most businesses don't want you to know. So subscribe to the channel. It's fun. He's just a neat guy. So. Okay, so Rabbi, I'm going to open up the phone lines.
Yes, do.
That's the one thing that I didn't do, but it only takes about 2 seconds to fix. You said, William, did you get everything done? Are you sure? And I'm like, oh yeah, I got it all done. But no, now I've got it all done. Okay, so we're going to sign in now. Number will be on your screen in about 10 seconds. Why is this thing popping up in front of my screen where I can't see anything? There we go. Number is on your screen now. 855-95-BIBLE for you guys on the go. 855-952-4253. I remember one time, Rabbi, I was listening to a radio station, and I knew the answer to whatever it was. And they said, yeah, just dial 1-800 KM9 or KM. It was like a word like 95 Bible was, and I was like, oh, I got this. I pulled out my cell phone and there was no letters on there. I'm like, are you serious? Really? I had to go to a payphone. By then I lost it. I'm like, so 855-95 Bible. Remember that 855-952-4253. Technology today understands the stresses and strains of young men years ago who had no numbers on their cell phones, so they fixed that now. You're good to go. Okay, so if you guys don't call in, I've already got a topic we're going to jump on. And so, we already got a caller. Let me turn it up. And let's let it ring one more time just for good measure. There we go. Welcome to the show. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Hi, this is Fernando again from
South
Carolina.
Shalom, my brother. How are you, Fernando? Welcome back.
Hi. I just wanted to say Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas to the Christian viewers, too.
Happy Hanukkah to you as well. And, yes, hope everybody has a safe holiday season, no doubt.
A merry and blessed Christmas to those who are watching, who follow it, who do it.
So what's your question, Mr. Fernando?
Yeah, my question for the rabbi is, I think in the book of Romans, Paul says it's not by works,
but by grace, right?
So no one will glory himself. So how does the rabbi approach the difference between Judaism? You have to do things in Paul's theology that there's nothing you can do to please God, but by His grace you are saved. That's my question.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Do you know exactly which verse, chapter and verse from Romans? I can look it up, but I'm just curious to make it faster if you knew what the chapter and verse were.
No.
That's okay.
I don't remember the chapter, but I know that Paul says in one point, I think it's in Romans, that he says that the salvation is by faith, but not by works. That
any man should boast. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm sorry.
Well, I thought you were done. I was gonna answer your question, but go ahead.
Okay, Ephesians 2:9.
Judaism.
Ephesians 2:9. Looks like.
Judaism, William.
Yes, sir.
Briefly, to complete my question, in Judaism there is a big emphasis on doing,
right.
Not just what you feel inside or
right,
and so forth. But Paul makes the case that there's nothing you can do for God but to accept the blood of Jesus. And if you don't accept it, it doesn't matter how good you are, how many charities you support, how many poor people you help. There's nothing you can do to win your own salvation, but only the blood of JC.
Right.
That's my question. I'm going to hang up so I can listen.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much.
Everybody else.
Great question. Thank you. Okay, so excellent. Okay, so that's great. So Ephesians 2:9 is the citation for that. And I had it on your screen. Let me put it on your screen once again. And it does read, not of works, lest any man should boast, for we are his workmanship, created in their Christ Jesus unto good works, which God hath before ordained that we should walk in them, in the good works.
Okay, so quoting what you have with verse 9.
Yes.
Okay, not of, what's the word?
Not of works. And of course,
works.
Back up.
Okay,
to verse 8.
wait. Okay, not of works.
Works.
Lest any man should boast, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works,
Works.
which
Yeah.
God hath before ordained that we should walk in them.
That's
Wherefore remember that you being in time past. Okay. So not of works. Keep that in mind. Now I need you to put up something on the
Okay, let's do
screen.
It seems like he just contradicted himself even right then. He said, not of works, but we're created to do good works.
Right. But
that's
be that
really
as
weird.
it may.
Okay, go ahead.
Jonah chapter 3.
Okay, Jonah 3. Caller, just sit tight. We will take your call momentarily, but you are on hold. Just listen to us talk, and we'll bring you in just a minute. Okay, Jonah 3. Let me make sure I've got the right screens up here.
Beginning with verse 6, you're going to be taking it all the way down to Jonah 3:10 to the end of the chapter.
Okay, 3:6. Okay, let me put it back up here momentarily. There we go. Okay, 3:6. For word came unto the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne. Sorry. And he laid his robe from him and covered him with sackcloth and sat in ashes. You said all the way to 10?
And up until this point, you have the whole story laid out.
Okay.
The big fish swallows Jonah, yada, yada. He gets spit out. He goes to Nineveh. He says Nineveh is 3 days' journey from one end to the other. He goes 1 day's journey, so he's not even in the center of Nineveh. In the original Hebrew, he says 5 words, and all of a sudden the entire city repents. Here's what happens.
Okay.
Eventually, word makes it up to the king. So just like you read in verse 6, chapter 3 of Jonah, word came into the king of Nineveh. He rose from his throne, he laid his robe from him, and covered him with sackcloth and sat in ashes. And he, that's the king, caused it to be proclaimed and published throughout Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock, taste anything. Let them not feed nor drink water,
Wow.
which means they're going to fast.
Yep. Right.
But let man and beast be covered with sackcloth and cry mightily to God. That means they're going to pray.
Okay.
Then it says, yea, let them turn every one from his evil way and from the violence that is in their hands. Who can tell if God will turn and repent and turn away from his fierce anger that we perish not? So what are they doing? They are fasting. They are praying.
Yep.
And they are stopped doing the bad to start doing the good. And here comes the exact verse that Fernando is looking for.
Okay.
Jonah chapter 3, verse 10. And God saw their
works.
And specifically, what works were they?
Right.
That they turned from their evil way, and God repented of the evil that he said that he would do unto them, and he did it not.
Wow. Well done. Well done.
Okay. So first of all, it's asking them to fast, to pray, and to stop doing the bad and start doing the good. And by the way, what do we Jews do on Yom Kippur?
That would be starve yourself and fast.
We fast.
Food and water.
We pray.
Of affliction. Pray.
And hopefully we are inspired by the day to stop sinning and start doing the good. And the text of Jonah chapter 3 verse 10 explicitly says,
that's really good. And
God saw their works.
Yep.
Ma'asehem, their deeds, their works, what they did.
Right.
It doesn't say, and God saw their faith.
Okay.
It doesn't say, and God saw their blood sacrifices.
Right.
It doesn't say that God saw their religion. It says God saw what they did, their works, their behavior, their acts. And which acts specifically? That they stopped doing the bad and started doing the good, and God did not do unto them what he said he would do.
Beautiful.
In other words,
right.
God forgave them.
Wonderful.
You can't get clearer than that.
That's really, really cool. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, cool. Let's take this next caller. Caller, welcome to the show. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Hey, Will, it's Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Montana.
Hey, welcome to you, brother.
Welcome. All right, yeah, thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Oh, sure.
Hey, what verse was that again? Jonah chapter 2?
That was Jonah 3, verse 8, 9, and 10. 10 is the big one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And God saw their works.
Good. I wanted to look it up afterwards. Okay, so here's my question. I gave this to you, Will, the other day, and I just wanted to see what
sure.
Rabbi Federow's 2 cents on it is.
Okay.
So here's the question. If Paul lied, then Christianity is false.
Right.
If Joseph Smith and Mormonism lied, Mormonism is false. If Muhammad lied, then Islam is false. And if Moses did not tell the truth or lied, then Judaism is false. How can we prove and know the veracity of the Hebrew Bible and the Hebrew Scriptures?
Thank you for wording that so eloquently. That was actually very well
Okay,
laid out.
can I just respond something immediately?
Sean, can you hear the rabbi?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Rabbi, go ahead.
I get very bothered when people talk about Muhammad and Paul and Jesus and Christian ministers and Catholic priests and rabbis and whatever, and using the term lie. The definition to the term lie is not just to tell something that isn't true. It is explicitly to tell something that isn't true with the intent of deceiving someone. In other words, if I think something is true and it is not true, and I tell you what I think is true, I'm not lying to you, even if I'm telling you something that is false. A lie must include a specific intent to deceive you.
Interesting.
And what happens is that people who come out of Christianity, I can't believe the lies, they're liars, and I don't want people to hate their own background. I don't want them to hate themselves for what they were. I don't want them to hate anything. Okay.
That's really good. That's really good input. I've never heard it that way.
I just think it's very important because I hear too many ex-Christians loathing themselves as they used to be because they paint everything they believed in as lies. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe they really meant to deceive, even though what they were saying was not true.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so with that stated, that's really interestingly good to know, because I hear so many people, Sean, stay on the line for a second, so many people who have come out of Christianity who have this really hurtness in there because their pastors lied to them. And
that's the point, is they're walking around with this hurt and anger, and it's just not necessary.
That's a really excellent point. Okay, so moving on to Sean's point now.
Okay.
How can we, where is the proof that our Torah is actually accurate? How do we know that we can trust it? So we continuously expound on why we can't trust the New Testament, as well as other writings. But if from a critical standpoint, how do we approach Torah and treat it with the same critique, with the same scrutiny as we do everything else?
Well, there's one thing also too. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay, so the main reason I ask this question, right, and the veracity of the Old Testament is not necessarily me actually questioning it, but what I find is every time I get into that any type of rhetoric with family who is still Christian or anybody in general, right?
Sure.
The first thing they go to is when I bring out contradictions or anything like that. The first thing they go to is that the New Testament has more veracity than the Old. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a logical, easy answer that I could give them to kind of get them off that topic of pointing that there's more credentials to the New Testament than the Old. But I would also like to physically just know how do we know the veracity of the Old Testament is true? I mean, and I sent you that video I had, but ultimately I just wanted any additional opinions beside what that rabbi said.
Sure.
To kind of point us in the right direction for the veracity of the Old Testament.
Okay, perfect, Sean. Thank you for your call. It's a great question, man. We'll get to it, okay?
All right, thank you guys.
You bet. Shalom.
Many blessings.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for calling in. I don't remember who asked me this recently, sometime in the past few weeks. In fact, it may have even been Sean. We discussed it. And my answer, and if you don't mind me putting this out there first, because you might need to correct me on my understanding. So, and so basically the way I kind of have always understood it and always viewed it is this, is the only part of Tanakh that is specifically like God divine, like it was delivered straight from Hashem, to the paper, so to speak, maybe would be the Torah itself, and then the actual prophecies of the prophets, not the books of the prophets, because there's a lot of information within the books of the prophets that are historical, and then you have actual prophecies. Those prophecies from Hashem directly need to be flawless, I'm assuming, and so, but the rest of it's just kind of a historical account on how they were through history in that time frame, which means, and it was also written by human hands, so there could be contradictions, in which there are. We've actually found certain contradictions in whatever. Nothing major, of course, but and my response to that always is, well, are there any contradictions in the actual prophecies themselves or in the Torah? Then come talk to me, and no one's ever approached me since then. So please clarify, but most importantly, answer Sean's question, but also see if you can kind of redirect me in the right way as well.
Neither you nor Sean are going to particularly like my answer.
Okay, that's fine. Bring it.
There is simply no way to know if it's true or not.
Oh, that's true. We weren't there.
No, look, yeah. William, okay, unless we have a time machine that goes back in time and follows along with the entirety of the history of the Jewish people and anything and everything that was done or said in the wilderness.
Right.
Okay, how are we going to prove anything? We can't prove anything, but let me ask you a question. And listen to my question,
okay,
William, and answer my question.
Okay.
According to Christian thought, is the Bible the truth? The Hebrew Scriptures, is it the truth?
If you asked a Christian right now, is the Old Testament true, they would say yes, even though it disagrees.
Okay, wait.
Oh, sorry, simple answer. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay.
In your opinion, even though you are not a Muslim, if a Muslim were to be asked, is the Hebrew Scriptures and what Christians call the Old Testament true, what would they answer?
No.
You're wrong.
So they think the Christian New Testament is true?
No, I didn't say the New Testament.
Oh, I thought you said the Christian New Testament also.
No. If I did, I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
That is not my question. My real question.
Hebrew Scriptures, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
if you were going to ask a Muslim,
absolutely,
a Muslim on the street, the average Muslim, an imam, somebody who's educated, it doesn't matter, is what the Hebrew Scriptures say true? What's their answer going to be?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the Christians will say that Jews are blind and cannot see the truth in the pages, in the verses of the Hebrew Scriptures. And Muslims will say that the Jews got the proper message from Allah, but we perverted it or we changed it or whatever. But ultimately they will say that the message of the Tanakh is true.
Right.
If you take the Jews in their small numbers, the Christians in their huge numbers, and the Muslims in their huge numbers, a healthy chunk of the planet believes that the Hebrew Scriptures are true.
Right.
That's one point to be made.
Okay.
Second point to be made. You got a choice. Everybody has a choice to accept what the Hebrew Scripture says as true or valid or authoritative, or not to accept it as true, valid, or authoritative.
Exactly.
However, if you begin with the Hebrew Scriptures and say, I believe that they are valid and true, you have to reject the New Testament, and you have to reject the Quran.
That's the thing that I was going to bring up next, is kind of what you're saying. So every Christian I've ever met, when I've asked them, is the Old Testament true and accurate? They say yes, every single one of them. But the same people I'm discussing this with, and I'm asking them these questions, then I'll say, okay, then what does this mean when I bring up this? They'll say, oh, well, that's not really exactly how it is. I'm like, wait, just a second ago you said it was accurate and true. Now you're saying it's not, because now you learned something you never knew was actually in there. So it's pre-programming, you know? That's what they're taught.
Exactly.
They're taught to believe it. They're taught to walk away from certain ideas, and it's an interesting world that they live in.
Also, another thing that's very important to understand. Okay. They think they came from Judaism. They think their religion is based on our Hebrew scriptures. If they were to say, like, wait a minute, I just saw it here. Mitzvah Golem. As Mitzvah Golem says, if Torah is wrong, then Islam and Christianity collapse.
Right.
Okay. They consider themselves Abrahamic faiths that came from Abraham or derived from the religion or whatever of Abraham. Okay. Abraham is Hebrew scriptures. So just like Mitzvah Golem says, if the Hebrew scriptures collapse, so does Islam, so does Christianity. Okay, now, let's go back to Sean's question. Okay. If you are going to take a look at the Hebrew scriptures alone, okay, you are going to find, for lack of a better term, I don't know what else to call it, problems, contradictions, statements made in Chronicles that are not in the other histories, or a different look at the same facts or rendition of the same facts. Okay?
Okay.
You're going to have more problems trying to be a literalist and what's the word? The true meaning and true definition of the word fundamentalist. Fundamentalist does not mean fanatic. It means taking the Bible literally without interpretation and having no error.
Right.
Judaism has never been a fundamentalist faith. Fundamentalist does not mean fanatic, and we have, and I'm one of them, fanatics. Okay, but that's not what the word fundamentalist means. Judaism has never been a fundamentalist faith. Judaism has always required the reader to have a free will and an ability to interpret. That's why we have the oral tradition. God is not stupid. God knows what the Torah says, what the Bible says. And so there's an oral tradition to understand what's going on in the Torah and the prophets and writings. Okay. So if you take a look at the Hebrew scriptures alone, and follow the mainly Protestant concept of sola scriptura, only the text, okay, only the scriptures, you're going to run into problems. But Judaism isn't like that, never been like that. Okay, Judaism believes that there is a tradition of interpretation and a second law that came orally to go along with the biblical passages to explain them. So even if a person who looks at the Hebrew scriptures and says, oh, you got a contradiction here, there's a tradition, a Jewish tradition that came with the text to explain what appears to be a contradiction or a problem in the text.
That is an excellent
and by the way, if a commentator is reading along in the Hebrew scriptures, okay, and the verse says, Abraham walked along, okay, the commentary isn't going to be Abraham walked along. The commentary is going to pick up something in the text that requires explanation. That's what a commentary is.
Right.
So the commentary is a result of something that appears to be weird or contradictory or problematic or whatever in the text, and it's giving the explanation of why it's not a problem. Okay? We know that God is spiritual. We know that God has no body. And God walked in the Garden of Eden in the cool of the day. Wait, so God has toes and a knee and an ankle, and what is that? So obviously the commentary is going to say, wait a minute, this is not meant to be taken literally. Thou shalt not murder is meant to be taken literally. But God walking in the Garden of Eden in the cool of the day requires an explanation. Anthropomorphism, as they say. So understand that you got to make your choice. You got to say, do I believe in the Hebrew Scriptures or do I not believe in the Hebrew Scriptures? And if you don't believe in one way or the other in the Hebrew Scriptures, every other faith, Western faith, Christianity in all of its thousands and thousands of denominations completely falls apart, or as he put it, how do you word it? Where to go? Collapses. Okay. And so does Islam. Okay. If you take a look at the Quran, okay, it's filled with stories that not only come from the Hebrew Scriptures, but it also comes from the rabbis. The Quran says that Abraham's father was an idol maker. That's rabbinic commentary. That's not in the Bible. So it's based on, and Christianity itself is based on, the writings of the Hebrew Scriptures. If you exclude the Jews and just take the Christians and the Muslims, they believe in the veracity of the Hebrew Scriptures. Why shouldn't we? Okay, you either believe in it or you don't believe in it. I know that's tongue-in-cheek, why shouldn't we? But the point is that if you believe in the Hebrew Scriptures, Christianity falls apart. If you believe in the Hebrew Scriptures, Islam falls apart. And by the way, don't ever be told that, the Quran is perfect and has no contradictions.
Right.
Okay? I can show them to you.
Right.
Okay? But at any rate, if you believe in the Hebrew Scriptures, if you believe in the Torah alone, you have to reject Christianity. Numbers 23:19, very famous passage. If God were a man, he'd be a liar. All men lie. If God becomes a man, he becomes a liar like all men. Right. Numbers 23:19, it's specific. Deuteronomy 24:16, every man shall be put to death for his own sin. If every man shall be put to death for his own sin, Jesus cannot die for your sin. Okay, so it is, when they start attacking, when you say to them, the Christian New Testament has contradictions, the reason why they are going to react is because they are taught it's perfect. When you start showing them, okay, just the simple, most basic stuff. Okay, what was it, 2 weeks ago, William, we did a whole thing on the Christmas story?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just the most basic elements from one gospel to another gospel are simply contradictory. You know, there are 31 contradictions in the Passion narrative alone. There are, or even more actually, but the point is that, okay, the kind of contradictions you have aren't even close to what they could possibly point out in the Tanakh, certainly not in the Torah. So, you know, you either have to accept the Hebrew Scriptures or you reject the Hebrew Scriptures.
Right.
But if you accept the Hebrew Scriptures, all else falls apart.
Excellent. Very true.
Okay. Yeah, but is there an absolute, undeniable proof that the Torah is 100% factual in the way that most people mean the word fact? No, there isn't.
Right.
And even though it is logical, even though it makes sense,
I will say that there are things that do prove its authenticity in the sense of things.
But you can always find excuses to reject it. There's always, no matter how much archaeology proves the existence of Moses, the Exodus from Egypt in the 1450s.
Let's spin it a different direction then. Let's just say, for example, the dietary laws. They list all the unclean animals and the clean animals, right? And so they have only found three or four, I don't know, animals that's ever existed in 3,500 years where they have either a split hoof or I can't remember how the storyline goes, but that still stands true today. They still have not found any extra animals. It's like, how did Moses know this? If this is really just like a whim or a chance thing, how did he even possibly know that? So.
And I guarantee you there'll be some scientist or atheist or whatever who will come up with some explanation.
Yeah, right. True,
okay,
true.
look, God himself cannot prove God exists. Why do I say that? Because God is purely spiritual, and anything God does in the real world, God has to do under the laws of nature and physics that God created.
Okay.
If God were to make a second sun appear in the sky, properly distant from our sun, that's not going to interfere with whatever and not going to interfere with the earth and it appeared, I guarantee you scientists would come up with some sort of explanation for it.
Right.
Anything that God could do to prove his own existence, because it would have to fall under the category of the real world and the laws of physics and the laws of nature that God himself created, okay, it would have to comply with those laws. And therefore, scientists, people who do physics, okay, physicists, okay,
yeah,
could come up with some sort of explanation.
Right, true.
Okay, there's a saying in the Talmud that everything is determined except free will. But if free will is not determined, then it's a way of saying nothing is determined. Because free will means we can do anything at all.
Right.
And we are totally, absolutely, completely, and utterly free to do anything we want.
Right.
Even if it's immoral or unethical. Why? Because we have free will.
Right.
Okay? A person can... What was the most recent? Choose to defy the laws of physics and make a train run off the tracks in the state of Washington and kill whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. A person is still quite capable of going into a church, God forbid, and shooting people up because he got whatever the reason was. I don't even remember anymore.
Right.
Okay. We humans are free to resist. We humans are free to stop the evil among us. To rebuke your neighbor for the evil he does. To justice shall you pursue. Don't stand idle while your neighbor bleeds. Right. Okay. But even that are commands from God that people can choose to ignore. We are totally free to do anything. And unfortunately, one of the things we're free to do is to say, oh, there's a contradiction. I'm not going to believe anymore, when the explanation might be a few verses away or a few verses before, or just come from the oral Torah.
Right.
But the horrible, terrible, fearful answer to his question is there is no proof. And we have to make our decisions on our own, and then act accordingly.
Right. True. Okay.
William, this is one of the proofs for God. It's called the ethical proof for God.
Right.
Either God said, "Thou shalt not murder," or a human, "I see your son."
Yes, get over here. There you go. That's what I was looking for, right there.
Hi.
You'll see Sarah in a second.
I see your daughter.
Yeah. Okay. I just kissed my microphone. I love you guys. Go away. Now beat it.
You guys go away. Daddy.
That's funny. Okay, let's go ahead and take this caller. They've been waiting patiently. Caller, welcome to the show. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from. Caller, are you still on the line with us? They're still connected. Maybe they're waiting for... they're watching the TV screen.
They're watching the TV and waiting to hear it.
Right now. Nope. I guess they must have just laid the phone down and went away. I don't know. Okay, so
That's
caller.
Because the rabbi was going on and on and on. Shut me up.
Okay, so I'm going to leave them. I won't be rude. I'll give them a chance to actually to regain their cell phone or whatever. I'm going to leave their phone turned up. So, caller, whenever you actually realize that we're actually engaging with you, the person who called in with the last 4 digits 5975, okay, then go grab your phone and pick it up and start talking to us.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on. There we go. It worked.
I wasn't want to interrupt. I wasn't wanting to interrupt.
That's okay. You have to understand when you call in, what you see on your computer screen is about 30 seconds later than when it actually takes place. We've been talking to you for like 30 seconds now, and you just now came on. That's okay.
Yeah, we actually asked you 5 questions, and we got no answer.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. A little distracted today.
That is okay, brother. Go ahead. Tell us what your question is. Wait, for who am I talking to?
Oh, Brock, Southeast Missouri.
Oh, Brock. Welcome back, man. What's the question for Rabbi?
Yes. Was it Jesus or was it Paul that attempted to get rid of the law?
Get rid of the wall?
The law.
The law.
Oh, the law.
Basically say it was useless.
Oh, the LAW law, not wall. Okay, got it.
Right.
Right.
Which, by the way, is a very interesting characteristic about that.
Interesting.
Okay. The writings of Paul, remember, historically came first, even though they come second in the order of the New Testament. But the writings of Paul are older than the 4 Gospels. So let's take Matthew, for example. When Matthew says, William, you're going to have to help me with this, but when Matthew says that Jesus says, those who...
Matthew 5, probably.
What is it?
Matthew 5:17. Those that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it says.
Matthew 5:17.
Okay, Matthew.
Actually, that's
5.
Jesus. Think not that I've come to destroy the law. That's not the right one you're thinking of, though, is it?
No, that's exactly it.
Oh, okay. Good.
Till heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or tittle shall no wise pass from the law till all is filled. Whoever therefore breaks one of these least commandments and teaches men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. This is a direct criticism of Paul. Whoever wrote Matthew is critiquing Paul, who teaches people to break the commandments.
Oh, my. Oh.
Okay, remember something. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were not writing in a vacuum. Okay, they had...
That's deep.
Matthew had Mark, because every Christian scholar will tell you Mark came first. Matthew had Mark, and Luke had probably Matthew, but also had Mark, and John was kind of like a totally weird mystical form, mystical writings anyway.
Right.
So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John also would have been familiar with the writings of Paul.
Right.
So when Matthew says, whoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. That's a criticism of Paul. So you're right. Paul is called antinomian. He is against the law. And the antinomianism, the being against the law of Paul, okay, is clearly not how Matthew and I believe Luke presents the law. That's one thing. And second of all, what law are they talking about? They're talking about the law from the Hebrew Scriptures. They're talking about the law in the Torah. There was no other law at the time.
I've never heard that before, ever. That makes so much sense. It's scary that what you said about whoever wrote Matthew. It obviously wasn't Matthew. There was no blood prints or signatures. But whoever wrote Matthew in the red ink of Jesus per se, it was criticizing what Paul was teaching.
Exactly.
That is creepy. That's creepy.
Think not that I've come to destroy the law of the prophets. I came not to destroy, but to fulfill.
Yeah, wow.
And then he says, till heaven and earth pass away. Well, last I looked, heaven and earth are still here.
Wow.
That means that the law is still in operation. The law is still functional. The law is still necessary. The law is still good. And by the way, when it says one jot or one tittle,
Yeah.
The jot is a yud, the smallest letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and the tittle are the
decorative flame things.
Yeah, the feather.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word.
They're like the crowns, if you will, the crowns on the letters in the Torah, right? The decorative points that hang off the top.
Yes. But there's a
the
word
stalagmites
out of my head.
The stalagmites.
Yeah, right.
Right. So,
but you're right. It's definitely Paul who is the against the law, not according to the way portrayed of Jesus by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, certainly not Matthew. Okay, Luke can get some pretty. At any rate, or so can John. But the point is that Matthew is clearly writing against Paul because Paul is writing against the law, and Matthew puts words in Jesus' mouth. It's very for the law.
Wow. I see my collar is still hanging on.
Any follow-up questions? Uh-oh.
Keller, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think.
Okay, did we cover everything?
Your speakers, I'm getting a lot of distortion.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, you'll be able to watch the video. It'll be a clean recording for you. So, but thank you for your questions. I really appreciate that, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Okay, shalom. Bye-bye.
By the way, Bluesman is right. Matthew 10. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's enemies will be members of one's own household. Okay? The Messiah is to bring family peace, not destruction, especially of families.
Yep, very true.
Yep.
That still got my mind going in circles. Wow. I don't think people understand how important it is to understand the chronology of their New Testament.
Well, it's the same thing in the Hebrew Scriptures.
True.
David is about 900 BCE, let's say. Okay. So, Kings, what's it called? What's the name of the book that David is found in?
Found in? Oh,
yes.
Second Kings? No. You got
I
me.
thought it was First Kings and the one before. But anyway, the point is...
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the point is that where do we put the Psalms of David?
Right.
At the end.
Interesting.
Okay, so we have a little bit of this too. The first prophet is who? Who's the first prophet?
Isaiah?
No.
Jeremiah?
Wait. Isaiah comes first.
Chronologically.
But in chronological order, Isaiah is not first.
Oh, yeah, it's Amos.
It's Amos.
Yeah, right.
So why does Isaiah come first?
Interesting.
Why does Isaiah come first?
I don't
remember?
I don't remember.
No joke. Because Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel are some of the longest scrolls. Therefore, they have to be put down first.
Oh, so they consider them the major prophets, even though there really aren't any major or minor. They're just all prophets.
And major and minor is a question of size.
Right, gotcha.
When we talk about Hanukkah as the minor holiday, it's not minor in its significance or importance. It's minor in the number of laws that are regarding Hanukkah.
Right, gotcha.
The laws of Passover are like this. The laws of Hanukkah are like this.
Right.
So Hanukkah is called a minor holiday because there aren't that many laws regarding it.
Interesting.
So if you're going to stack the scrolls, the thicker ones go down first.
Right.
Well, that's the answer.
Oh, unbelievable. Okay, phone lines are back.
Heber Morales asks, do we know exactly where was the temple built? Yes, on top of Mount Zion in Jerusalem, where the dirt underneath was held in by retaining walls, and the western wall, sometimes I hate the term, called the Wailing Wall, held in the dirt upon which the temple was constructed. But if you're asking where on the Temple Mount exactly was the temple built, that's subject to question.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, so we'll...
The Kotel, let me answer his question.
Okay.
The Kotel is the western wall. Picture picture a large dictionary and a prayer book on top of the dictionary. Okay? So you've got here. Okay. Let's take this. So here you got a book. Can you see this? Here you got a book, and here you got another book on top of it. Okay? All right.
Okay.
The surface here, okay, is the dirt upon which the temple is built. Okay?
Okay.
All right? The western wall is this right here.
Oh.
Right there. It holds the dirt upon which the temple was built.
Oh,
I don't know if you can see all that.
I can. That was a really good illustration.
Okay. I'm watching myself see if you can even see it because I don't know where the camera hits.
That you're just perfect. Just
okay, good.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah. Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
All right. So that's the western wall, which is also called the kotel. Kotel means wall, and the wall, the kotel, is the western wall.
Okay.
But it held in the dirt upon which the temple was constructed.
Gotcha. Okay, final topic. We hear this all the time. This is probably a topic that could do an entire show on, so we'll have to keep it short. People, Christians they think that the prayers are only getting answered in the church, right? Last night was really, really interesting. Yesterday, during the day, I was doing all my shows, and I was just feeling worse and worse, and I had a really massive headache. It just came in the early afternoon, and it lasted like all the way up until, mysteriously, Rabbi Stuart basically blessed me with a prayer right online and said, I wish Lamb a speedy recovery. And like within 30 seconds, my headache was gone, and I could breathe clearly through my nose. Now, granted, my nose is still kind of in and out, but my headache is still gone. But it was really interesting because my question to him, I said, Rabbi, I got to interrupt you. I said, do you believe in Jesus? He was like, is this a trick question? And so I explained to him what was going on, and so we dabbled in the context of, does God answer the prayers of more than just Christians? Now, here's the thing. People ask me, well, how come God answered my prayer? I'm a Christian. If you're telling me that Christianity is wrong, why am I getting my prayers answered? I said, well, first of all, God is a creator of life. Everything God creates, he has a I would say a warm spot for. If he hears somebody, it's like me, for example, neighbors down the street. Great example. They've got little kids. They don't even belong to me, but I love kids, right? If I hear a kid screaming down the street and I can hear that, I'm going to take off running and try to come to that kid's rescue. Whether he follows my rules or not, I don't care. I'm a compassionate person. That's how it is. So, but what their claim is that there's no way God would hear the prayers of the Jewish people because they don't have Jesus. Please elaborate on that as much as you can.
All right, and you're going to have to help me because there's a passage in the Christian's New Testament which basically says, when you pray in the name of Jesus.
It actually says that? I just thought we did that out of practice. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's...
anything you ask in my name is what it says.
Exactly, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anything you pray in my name. Well, if Jews don't pray in the name of the Christian Jesus... If we don't pray in the name of anybody but ourselves,
Matthew, Mark,
we're the ones
John.
asking God for whatever we're asking, then according to Christian theology, obviously our prayers aren't going to be answered because we didn't pray in the right name.
Right.
We don't have the right religion. We don't have the right, which, by the way, makes God very small and very petty.
So true.
Well, I'm not going to answer your prayer because you didn't say my name. You didn't say my son's name. You didn't say, the right name. You don't have the right religion. That's a very petty and small God.
Right.
Okay. Our God, thank God, is not petty and small and answers the prayers of anybody if they're sincere prayers and prayers for good things. Gee, God, take my enemy and, have them thrown off a cliff is not a good prayer. Okay. But our God is not so petty and small that God is not going to answer prayers of those praying to wrong gods and other gods, because our God isn't that petty and small.
Right.
Look, and by the way, every single religion on planet Earth, I don't care if it's Buddhist, Hindu, Jain, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, and all its thousands of denominations, every single religion has miracle stories.
Sure.
Every single religion has stories that can tell you, well, when I prayed to my God, this is such and such actually happened just like I needed it to. Every religion has such stories.
And you know what Jesus?
When I prayed to God for this incurable disease to go away, and lo and behold, it went away.
Right, right.
Every religion has those.
Yep.
Okay, why? Because our God is not so petty and small that he only answers prayers to the right name or have the right faith.
Thank you. Absolutely. Our God is a loving God, and he cares about his creation, period. End of
exactly.
Story.
All creation.
End of story. Get over
William,
it.
Why did the Bible start with Adam and Eve, who are not Jews?
Interesting, yeah.
Why does it include humanity at the time of Noah that God felt were worth saving?
Right.
They're not Jews. Because our God cares for all people, not just Jews, not just his chosen.
Right.
It's that simple.
Agreed. I totally agree.
Other religions have to start with their perfect people who don't exist, because nobody's perfect, and they start with their religious community. That's why the New Testament starts with the genealogy of their Jesus and goes on from there. And Islam is about Muhammad and all that. So our religion starts with people who are not Jewish and includes people who are Jewish who aren't perfect.
Right.
Because they're real and they existed. And it makes them more realistic.
Well, Rabbi, I've had such a blast. It would have been so much more fun. I know. I'm not trying to rub it in. Not trying to.
Rub it in. Thank you. No, seriously, William. I really thought I would be able to make it.
Hey, but look at the bright side. Look at the bright side. If you came this time, it would be 6 months probably, because we usually try to bet every 6 months. Before you showed up again. Well, since you didn't make it this time, you might actually be able to come in on the weekend that we actually have the building here, so we can pace it, and maybe I can have you help me.
When's your building going to be done?
It's supposed to. Oh, done? Oh my God! It'll take me, once it's here, it's going to take me at least 3 months to actually, minimum of 3 months to be able to move into it, because there's a lot of work that's got to be done to it. It's coming strictly as a stick-built building with a floor, 2x4 walls, exterior wood siding, and a roof, and that's it. Everything else, the electrical, the insulation, sheetrock, flooring, you name it, I've got to put into it. So, so it's going to be pretty. It's going to be a while before I can actually get moved in, but it's going to feel good, because people will feel like, even the viewers out there, they're going to feel like it's happening, because I'm going to put pictures up, and it's going to make everybody feel warm and fuzzy about what's happening here. They're going to feel like things are moving forward. And then, fortunately, right now, thanks to the patience of my wife, she's allowed me to occupy her office, as everybody knows, to where it looks like we're still in a studio because of our grateful green screen, and so that works out well. But eventually it'll happen, and the good thing is it's going to be a permanent situation. Like I said before, I'll say it again. 10 years from now, 15 years, I don't know how soon. I'm gonna shift out of this seat here and move over behind the scenes and start doing all the buttons and let my son do the hosting. So that may take a while, but to not talk shit or stay, man, it's not going anywhere. So Hashem willing, of course. And so we might as well make it a comfortable ride, So that's kind of where it's at. So meanwhile, if you guys do want to help out, you can. You can just go to TanakTalk.com. There is a donate button somewhere. I'm sure you could find it if you're willing. It's via PayPal, I think. I'm pretty sure. If you click that, you can put in just put a note on there for me if you don't mind. A donation for building fund, that'd be great. And so so it's moving forward. I'm excited, and I'm so excited about it, Rabbi, that I don't really care if anybody donates, because I'm paying for this thing regardless. Because this is going to happen no matter what. So Baruch Hashem. Man, I love seeing your smiling face. Can't wait to see you here so I can wrap my arms around your neck, man. It's just
It'll happen.
It'll happen soon. It'll happen soon. All right. Well, shalom, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to go to the website. Actually, YouTube page. You're watching this now. If you're a new viewer out there, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Right next to the subscription button is a bell. If you don't click that bell, you won't get alerts. Click the bell. Check the checkbox and say, yes, I want notifications. Every time I record a show, you will get notified on your email, which will actually alert your smartphone, your dumb phone, whatever kind of phone you got. It'll take care of you. So if you don't have that done, you need to do that. And also, once again, I put up on the screen throughout the show, but if you don't have this little book right here, it's really amazing. And also, you need to go to the website, whatjewsbelieve.org and Creencia Judía. Did I say that right this time?
Creencia Judía, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay, good. And then also the smartphone app. I cannot tell you how important this thing is. It's really just crazy cool. I'm going to switch screens because I've got this other camera so close now. It might actually be able to pick it up. First, let me put it up on my phone here. It is the cell phone app for Android and for Apple, and it is called Jewish Mission Control. Oh, get back over here. Let me find it here. Right there. Oh, wait, actually, let me go back because I want you to see. Okay, I'm going to switch screens. Okay, so I'm going to hold it steady here. Right. Oh, the green screen is messing with it. Oh, doggone it. Okay, so basically, if it's going to show up, yeah, it'll show up a little bit right here. Right here next to my index fingerprint, you'll see.
Actually, you can see right through every one of your icons.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy? It's because
Isn't that funny? That's cool.
It's the chroma key setting. But when you click on that, it'll bring up something like this, and it'll show you all these things. Why is it? Oh, it's backwards.
See, here we go.
That's okay. That's on me though. I had to flip my camera around to make sure it all fit well. But anyway, if you go to this and get this application for your phone,
it's backwards.
Yeah, I know. It's because I
don't understand that.
No, it's not. It's not you. It's me. I actually reverse. See, I have that. Look.
I don't understand how that happens.
Let me just clarify something real quick. Okay, just sit tight. I'm going to show you something really interesting. Watch. This will only take a second, so just bear with me. Okay, I'm going to take just for grins to show you how that happened, and you're going to wonder what in the world is William on, and this will explain everything. Okay, so when you see what you're fixing to see in about 20 seconds...
No, William, we'll just say you're a little backwards.
Well, I'm more upside down than anything else at this point.
Oh, there we go.
Do you see it yet?
That's funny.
That's why your cell phone app...
That's very funny. I don't know how you do that
stuff.
Oh,
man. It's cool. Just technology. But anyway, so if I want my face to be on the other side of the screen, facing the opposite way, I don't have to move my chair and rearrange the office. I just simply reverse the camera. So sometimes if you see this right here in my shirt, if you see the Tanakh talk and it looks backwards, then you'll know that I did a camera reversal for whatever reason I needed to. So I didn't realize I did it on yours, on that scene until it was actually too late. So there you go. So anyway, check out the book. It's pretty awesome. It's an easy read. It's a super tight dynamite book you got to get. It's really amazing. Amazon.com. You can also get it. It's available also on Kindle. And if you don't know...
Kindle, Nook, and ebook.
Kindle, Nook, and ebook. And if you have not been a friend of Rabbi Stuart Federow, you're wasting your time. Go on Facebook, send him a friend request. If he's got less than 5,000 friends, which may or may not be the case, you might be able to get him to accept your friendship.
I don't think I have anywhere near that.
Okay, yeah, sure, signal. So, okay, well, good deal. We're going to call it a night. Thank you all for tuning in. So good to see everybody, and look forward to seeing you guys on the other side. Say Shavua Tov. It's pretty much still the beginning of the week.
Shavua Tov, a happy Hanukkah, and a happy, healthy, prosperous, successful new secular year of 2000 and Chai.
I love it. Okay,
in the year 20 Chai.
Shalom, everybody. Take care.
חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד איפוק זו העוצמה